I want to talk to you about my friend Charlie Crawford. He's a 10-time NFR qualifier.
Charlie Crawford, time to just shake it out and win. Got it on him fast. Set
there
up.
We are.
Here's a dead
Nice
money
run.
lead. You betcha 3-8.
That's an absolute perfect run. Timing was perfect from the time the first swing is up. He's got the control. Charlie made it happen by being timed up with his horse with the steer, and being able to not just rope, but to pick that steer's head up without changing the momentum for the heeler at all.
We know his beautiful wife, Jackie, all three of their beautiful children, the founder of the Liberty and Loyalty Foundation, which this year will exceed $1 million raised for military and first responders. I've said it 1,000 times. Charlie, it's time to rope, nod and ride, whip and spur. I want to welcome you to the Charlie Crawford Podcast. Let's ride.
Here we go. We're on. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Beverly Robbins and Jessy Remsburg. Thank you, girls, for coming out.
Thanks
for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Alabama, correct?
Yes.
Alabama and Stephenville.
Right.
So
half and half.
Half and half.
Half and half.
Luckily, you guys only live a mile from here, so it's been fun getting to go back and forth and coming in and watching you girls rope and been a fan for a long time because, Jessy, I remember when you first cracked out on the old white horse with your pants tucked under your boots and it's like, man, I remember Salado when they used to have the all girls of Salado.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, this girl can heel. And then now you're one of the best.
Yeah.
Beverly's, you're historic from all the short rounds you've made at the BFI. Anybody watching the BFI tapes like I was growing up, like you're the baddest header ever coming up. Like, and to be able to hang with the guys, it was cool. It was so fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was fun.
I enjoyed watching it. Big fan. So last week was a big week. The women's rodeo finals with the WRWC, is that what they call it? The women's rodeo, world championships.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a big week.
Big week. Fun week.
So talk about
Exciting.
that week.
Well, it was the finals for, trying to qualify all year. We have an opportunity to go to qualifiers and get enough points to be in the top 21 to make it to the finals. So with the opportunity of roping for $60,000, $25,000, and $15,000. So we were lucky enough to make it to the top 3 and made good money. Didn't finish exactly the way we wanted to, but we made it to AT&T, and it was exciting. And platform is huge.
Mm-hmm.
We're really appreciative of what WRWC is doing for the ladies, and it was just a fun week. It was kind of a stressful week for me because I was borrowing horses and had some.
Now, what happened to your good horse?
Well,
Rebel, isn't it?
Rebel, which I got from y'all. My number 1 horse. He's he's just my security blanket. So we're still assuming that it's abscesses. Just with all the rain, he's still very, very crippled. So Jackie and Larry D were both gracious enough to offer their horses, and so I just jumped on one. And I'm not good at that at all, but the horses are good enough, and just tried their best to get me through it.
Now, is that Greed?
Greed. Yeah.
The LDs that Trevor rode as well.
Exactly.
He's a cool horse. I always liked that horse.
He deserved to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Becoming a little short in the futurity, it would have been fun to see him win that. But
yeah,
I'm not good in that area. I'm not a good jump rider at all.
Once a guy has a feel, it's hard to jump off that field when you're comfortable.
Exactly.
Jessy, how much did you guys win out there last week?
16-4.
16-4 in a week. That's pretty good out there.
Oh, yeah.
And so what's it like back in the box at AT&T Stadium during the PBR with that is probably sold out, isn't it? Sold out crowd dang near. Millions of people watching.
Oh, yeah. Kid Rock was there, too.
Yeah.
And you can tell what you were thinking about when I went in the box. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
is that the Ala frickin' Bama song?
No.
From Ala frickin' Bama?
Well, my horse was acting like he had never been anywhere.
I did see that on social media, yeah.
And so when we finally backed in the box, he was like, oh, okay, I know what we're doing now.
Yeah.
But I looked over at Bev, and, I got my hat
You got to
back
preface
on my
it
thing.
with why that was a problem, the 62.
Oh, so we back in the box. I'm looking over at Beverly, and they announce 62 years young. And I'm like, why would they say that? Because all week we've been dealing with people calling her old in this pickleball and thinking this, oh, we're going to come over and beat this old lady. And she just, I mean,
Wears
wheels.
them out.
Oh my gosh. So when they said that, I'm like, oh, here we go. So that's what I was thinking about in the box, to be honest with you. Like, why would they say that?
Now, have you ever watched that movie For the Love of the Game with Kevin Costner?
No.
When he talks about clear the mechanism?
No.
That's a thing.
It's a thing.
Bill Belichick told his team that one year at the Super Bowl when they played the Seahawks. He told them to avoid the noise. But he was talking about don't watch ESPN or read the newspapers and stuff. But
Oh, absolutely.
because I always tell everyone, you've got to be careful when you go to these rodeo. You better have someone talking crap at home a little bit because it's not like golf. Shh, she's about to rope.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, oh yeah,
How loud
rile
can
it
you
up
get?
and and try to add to the pressure to it.
Oh, I too. Like there's not enough already.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the hardest things when you're backing in, just to avoid the noise. It really is that hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was fun, though. Yeah, it was.
That's so cool to be able to get on that stage.
Absolutely.
And long overdue, especially for team ropers, which you girls are team ropers, and the breakaway is starting to bust that bubble, I think, and they're starting to get those opportunities. But to be girl team ropers, you don't get that many of those opportunities. And to me, like that event is your guys' NFR. It's y'all's NFR. To be able to be on that big stage and rope for money, team roping, it's pretty cool for what they do.
100%.
So if you're a young girl, like how would you try to get qualified for Fort Worth and to try to get to a chance to rope at the AT&T Stadium with the Final Three for the big money?
Well, the way it's set up, you can nominate anywhere, any roping, anywhere in the world, you just as long as you get it, you let them know about it, you can nominate it. And so, you don't have to travel to and fro to get there. You can nominate anything that you're at. So you can do that. You can go that route. And you can go, of course, they have the qualifiers, 8 qualifiers throughout the year, different places all over the country that you can go and nominate. And they pay deeper points, which gives you more of an opportunity to gather points at.
Yeah.
Freaking
And the right
Alabama.
type of ringtone, too. Heck yeah. Sweet
Oh,
Home Alabama.
So sorry.
I love it. Jessy's ringtone was probably that Kid Rock one
Right.
from Alabama.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah, sorry. So anyway, yeah, they can nominate at those. They can nominate anywhere they go, and I don't know how many points 21st was to get there, but it's not a lot of points.
So to
get you
compete just enough, and then nominate, and then they take the top 21
Mhm.
headers and the 21 healers
Mhm.
to Fort Worth for the women's finals.
Mm-hmm. And I think it ends up being a few more because the one that has the most points goes, and then they have a last minute qualifier. So I think it ends up being 25 maybe, or 20, a few more. But yeah. Not hard to qualify for.
So Jessy, is Beverly the quarterback, just like all headers? Does she handle the book? Does she handle all the logistics?
She handles everything.
So the one thing you do, keep it simple. I love it. And you rope 2 feet every time. But the one thing that I have noticed that like this kind of your thing to where you have to focus a little bit more attention on is the cowgirl hat.
Oh, yeah.
So when you rope for the big money and you have to strap out the cowboy hat, like you gotta crack it out, knock the dust on it, and start packing around with you.
I got to start figuring out which one I'm going to wear. And then I had to borrow one from Sarah Angeloni this time. And
So you don't even have your own now.
hey,
It's just we're just going to borrow one.
Get this, I had to leave the hat that I knocked off at AT&T. I had to leave it there because I was scared of the bulls to get back to it.
Whoever had I'm borrowing is going to be in the back box when I'm done.
Right. She's probably going to be like, where's my hat? I'm sorry.
I remember, do you remember at Waco, the very first time? That's the first time I seen her try to heel with a cowgirl hat on. And you did the Leo Camarillo. You put it on the back of your head, and when you nodded, it was like you were nodding to ride a bull.
Broke her neck.
Dang near. I thought we were gonna have. I thought there was gonna be a sore nerve in her neck, or you had a crick in her neck.
I want that thing so far away from me.
Oh yeah, we got a picture of that one. We had it on her birthday cake that year.
I did. I screenshot it in slow mo. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want a cowboy hat anywhere near me. And I had every intentions this time of roping and practicing with one, but I just never got around to it.
What's different?
I feel like I have to go out and around it. Like I just can't. I cannot get with it, and I feel like when my head goes like really gets tipped down a little extra. I don't know. I don't like it, and I hate having to go find it.
She said it's just like having a child. You have to go and find it and round it up.
It's embarrassing.
Remember at Waco, didn't she carry it around in a bucket, like a water bucket? She was carrying her hat around. It was like, this thing's like a dog or something. Just I gotta go find my bucket and my hat.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
What a
too
mess.
much.
So, Bev, where are you from? When did this all start? I know you were an amazing athlete growing up. I think if I remember right, team roping kind of came later. But where were you from, and what all sports did you excel at out of high school and into college?
I'm from Tuscumbia, Alabama, and it's right in the northwest corner of Alabama. And Perry Bigby was, and my dad, they put on rodeos their whole life, and that's what brought rodeo and mainly team roping and calf roping to our area. And so my dad was always involved in the rodeo part, but never really competed that much. I played tennis and basketball throughout high school, and then went to the University of Alabama and played tennis down there for a little while, and then kind of homesick, wanted to come back home. So I played tennis and basketball at the University of North Alabama. Finished out my 4 years there. And so after I got through with that, I was kind of burnt out with basketball and tennis. And so just kind of picked up a rope one summer and just started kind of playing with it after college, and just kind of went from there. Went to school, a Jake and Clay school, came to Perry's, and that was our first school. And they helped a lot get me on the right track, and probably had picked up a whole lot of bad habits just roping the dummy by myself for a long time. So that was probably a problem, but yeah, just kind of carried on from there, and
because that was when I had heard, because even Jackie talked about, I don't think she'd breakaway rope till she was a sophomore in high school. And what's funny is that I think being an athlete does at least give you an edge in the fact of your hand-eye coordination. You know how much effort and time it takes to be able to get the ball in the basket.
Oh, absolutely.
To find to put the tennis ball where you want it to go, and all the footwork and things like that and fundamentals. It seems like, because I've had some athletes, like professional athletes, that I've helped coach and teach and stuff like that, and it's like, it was amazing how fast it picked up.
Oh,
just the hand-eye coordination, just how easy it was, and
just the determination of being good at whatever you're doing. You're going to try to be your best at it. It's just that competitive.
Where do you think that came from? Because it seems you're still successful in and out of the arena. So where did that drive and that passion come from?
I mean, my parents were driven. My dad was very driven, and he kind of had the attitude, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it right, and you're going to do it all the way, or you're not going to do it at all, kind of thing. But like we were talking, they really never really pushed me to beyond that. It was kind of, I did it, and if I was going to do it, I was going to do it right, or I wasn't going to do it. But they wasn't those parents that really pushed, and we were laughing because my mother was talking about the price of college and this and that, and I was like, Mother, you didn't even pay for my college. How do you know how much college was? And she's, well, who do you think paid for it? And I was like, Mom, I had a college scholarship. And she's like, oh, I didn't even know that. So it was just, it was just me, whatever, they loved me, whether I was a champ or I wasn't a champ, so it was a personal thing, I guess, just Dad, I guess he instilled that if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right, or you're not going to do it at all, so, and I think when you're in competition and you're competitive your whole life, you're going to try to be the best you can be. And I think that's an edge mentally, physically, in every area. So, I mean, I think an athlete is going to do that. A true athlete is going to try to be the best.
The one thing I loved about sports is it seemed like you learned what 100 was. You learned what 100% was. They talk about in the Navy SEALs, they said a lot of times you'll tap out at 60%. And a lot of people don't realize there's another 40% after that.
Oh,
and it seems like there's a lot of sports that way as well, especially basketball and things like that, to where when you're running laps and you think you're going to die and you can still keep going.
Oh, yeah. And there's so much
Find out
more
where
that
those
we can
limits
put
are at.
into it. Absolutely. It is just unlimited what we're capable of
Yeah.
and what we're reaching.
Mm-hmm.
I know I haven't even begun to scratch that surface.
Well, when you first started learning how to rope, what year was that?
That would have been 85.
85. And then when was the first time you competed at the BFI?
I don't know the first time. I know me and Booger Britnell, we placed in, what did we say, 97?
96,
96,
I think is what you said.
and me and Zane were there in 97, and then 2001. So I went every year for, probably 95 to 2002 or 3, or I guess, something like that. I don't know. Time has just left.
I just remember when I was out of high school and I went to my first BFI. I was in high school, but I went to my first BFI, and like I said, I'd watch those BFI tapes, and nonstop. And when we would just be out there circling around that event center, and I remember seeing you walk in one time, and all the guys were like, "Holy crap, there she is!
Oh,
That's Beverly Robbins."
Oh, shoot.
And like, yeah, you were a stud.
Yeah,
I mean, that could be
there
the
wasn't
only
many
girl.
women doing anything then.
The only girl out there to be hanging with the guys too. I mean, it's one thing to enter it. It's one thing to hang with them.
Yeah.
Because you placed in, I think it was 96 or 97. You placed in the average, and then I think I Googled it, or I think we looked at it on YouTube, and I think it was 98 where you come back second high call.
Right, probably.
Against the best headers in the freaking world. You know what I mean? That is rank. It's not like the BFI now where some people might be mistaken. We're talking about the all-girl. No, we're talking about when there was one roping, and that was it. And it was against the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're
it has a
hanging with
tendency
them.
to make you kind of step it up.
It does,
And
huh?
that setup was, it was cut out for anybody, as long as you had the horse and
And you
go
always had a
catch.
running horse.
Yeah, I had a good horse, and I only went when I really felt like I had that horse.
Were those the same horses each time that you did good, or was it a couple different ones?
We had 2 different ones.
What was their
Yeah.
names? Which ones
I
were
had,
those?
Doc was my little short sorrel that I placed on a couple of times, and then Pretty Boy. Both horses I got from Bobby Lewis, Carol Rose, kind of set up. Both of them came from them, and so it hadn't been long since they were 37 when they got put down. So they hadn't been long since they've been gone. So they were
around for a while.
They were around for a while.
That's pretty cool.
They had a good retirement.
And then you said also too, what is some of your other big accomplishments? Because I remember those 3 short rounds. That was huge against the best in the world. But you said also the George Strait one year with Tom Bourne.
Tom Bourne, yeah, he taught me into somehow going out there, and that's when it was in Kingsville. We went out there in that little bitty building in Kingsville, Texas, and
what time of year was that?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Was it in July or August?
Seems like it seems like it was really, really hot.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
South Texas for anyone wondering where that's at, and you can't put quite the temperature gauge on what 100 degrees and a certain amount of humidity is like in a tiny little barn with everyone in it, probably 500, 600 teams probably.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it
and
was-
that's back in the day when some of them didn't have air conditioners on the way down there. The
Oh,
old
yeah.
trailers were hot.
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah.
was all different. It was
It's a
pretty
different
brutal.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
And
we
then
made
you-
it back to the top 50.
top 50.
And which was an accomplishment. We I guess we came back and wrote three after that. I guess it was the same
Mhm.
thing, and had 2 down. And I missed my dally on our 3rd one to be good. But that was fun. That was an experience.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, a few other U.S. finals, 1 truck, and those kind of things. So, a lot of little hits and little bigger hits, but just enough to keep you going down the road.
Yeah, I just noticed what I noticed is how good you could ride the barrier, and how much of a horse that you had that could run, and was just simple when you were there ready to rope, and everyone knew where the steer was going,
Yeah.
and at a high level, because them steers back then was a long start. Those were big, strong, fresh steers,
Mm-hmm.
and it was real.
Right. Yeah, it was a little different back then. I really strive to find shorter, quicker horses. My swing is very quick and very fast, so I have to have that quick stride, and that's what I was looking for, and they worked out good. Now you might need a little bigger horse to handle the bigger cattle now, and sometimes you don't. I try to have both now. Then I just had the 14.2s and 14.3s, really quick footed, and it worked.
You did have a real fast, strong swing, or you do have a real fast, sharp swing, and it is funny. It does seem like it needs to be a shorter stride to fit that swing, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't do well with longer strides. It slows my swing down and kind of
throws it off the rhythm.
Yeah, I have a very uncommon swing and and the way I ride.
Your swing. I never thought of your swing as uncommon. You rode good. Your rope looked funnier than what I remembered.
Right.
Like it's got a little bit of kick.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Absolutely.
So for the viewers, the kick is when the bottom strand kicks out to the right. And so that's your kick. And yours, you like a lot of kick. So how do you get your rope kick
back when I started, it's, you didn't have the rope companies that you have now that have these ropes kind of figured out. Every time I'd swing a rope, it was a figure 8 in it, every time. And then people come by and just flip it over for me. Here, flip it over. And they just flip it over. Now it don't do it. And, I just started doing that. And now, of course, I use Cactus and Barry Berg is wonderful at making my ropes where they will accept that.
He can design them however you want them to feel.
Absolutely. So, he fixes them where I can. My rope will tolerate that and allow me to do that. And it's just something that I've tried to change. I've tried and tried and tried, and it just never really felt like me. And I was like, why change? Just so that's probably not something I would suggest for the young kids to do.
It is, though, but like I say, your style was always so good. Like there was nothing to me to change, because what I always noticed was how much faster you got to your position than most people from those horses that could run, and how good you could ride that barrier.
I had to go to the hole every time. I was never a reacher, and so I had to have the horse that would get me there to that spot and keep my lane. Couldn't take that shot away from me, and so it was a pretty special horse to be able to get me to be able to be competitive with those guys, so I could get to a spot where I could catch every one of them. That was my goal, was just trying to catch every one of them and see where I ended up in the end. And it still is today. I'm not a reacher. And
was there ever one of those points when you were having that much success against the best guys in the world to where you thought going down the road a little bit? Did you go down the road a little bit? Did you kind of dabble with some of the rodeos out there?
I got talked into going to a few of them, and no.
Which ones did you get to go to?
Went to, I guess it was, oh my goodness, where did we go? I can't even remember. It was, gosh, so long ago. Sorry, I want to say Houston. I want to say, gosh, back in '95, Mark Shaw, me and Mark Shaw. So you had to have I don't even know how all the permit and all that stuff worked, but I got to go on to maybe a couple of them. But I was like, no, and I knew that road wasn't for me. It just was not.
What was it like though when you did the first rodeo you got to compete at? What was it like?
Well, it was very stressful. Very stressful. To think about having to be that fast. Yeah. It's very. I don't mean still today watching y'all do it. I can't even. Coming over the box with your rope swinging. That's just not me. It's, that was not my setup. And I just don't, that's something you got to get comfortable with, and you got to practice that. I admire y'all for doing that.
Well, you know what it takes in the basketball world and the tennis world. It's just, it's a lot of reps.
Oh, it's just a whole different, it's just a whole different deal.
Yeah.
What y'all do is
it's stressful.
It's stressful.
You've been out there.
It's do or die. It's do or die.
110-degree desert sand that we had out there before Reno, and just trying to get everything put together before you leave. And Hayden and Wyatt, they've been out here because they've been trying to get out of their barn just to get in a bigger arena, just to kind of get the summer feel out here. And it's been fun. I got to spar with them a couple of times. I'd jump on their horses and make a couple runs, and every once in a while I'd pull a shot off and
Oh my goodness.
And I was like,
I know better than
I
that.
told Wyatt, I said, see that shot right there? I said, I still think I could win the state finals in the high school up there in Oregon. So that weak ass crap don't hold no more though.
Oh, Charlie, you were right there with the best.
Yeah.
Gosh, and
Oh,
could handle a cow like
I just
no
remember the
other.
stress of it before this whole Reno thing starts.
Oh, I just can't imagine.
All your ducks in a row, and yeah, it's a lot to it.
Well, it's a lot, and y'all put so much into it, and so much money, and so much time, and so much driving, and that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And then you just put your life on hold, and that's what you're doing. That's your livelihood for that long. And
it has to be pretty fun though, with what the Women's World Finals is, to where it's not that.
right.
At least it's on your own terms a little bit, huh?
That's exactly what caught my attention.
Yeah.
Is to the whole thing. When I started reading the whole layout, that caught my attention. That wow, you can stay at home and then just travel when you have to go to the bigger events, and yeah, that's pretty nice.
Jessy, so where are you from, and when did roping become a passion of yours? How did you get start roping?
I'm from South Florida, Palm City, Florida, and my family has always had a ranch down there in Okeechobee, Florida. And I grew up. We had cow-calf operations, so I was working cows and grew up on the ranch. And my
a little
dad
bit
roped.
closer there.
My
Jessy.
dad ropes,
There you go.
and or he roped, and then my mom roped, and then
So roping was in the family.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I've loved horses since I could walk, so I've always ridden, and roping was it for me. I didn't know that I would take it this far, but it was a huge passion of mine, and I started out heading.
You did? That's
Yeah.
what I was wondering.
Yeah, I was heading, and I did head pretty good. I had my cousin and Morgan Jones and Mike Jones. They live in Town Creek, Alabama, so they live up near us now in Muscle Shoals, and they had me heading really well. They love headers to come over to their place, and so I got to where I could head good, but healing was always not a lot of girls healed back when I started healing, and I just thought that that's something I could figure out.
Yeah.
Not that I've mastered it by any means, but I can rope 2 feet. I just like it. It's just a challenge every single day, but it's very enjoyable for me.
What was ranching like in Florida? Because I didn't realize, because I grew up in the Northwest, and so Florida was pretty foreign to me because I didn't know much about down south. But some of the most cattle in the world I've heard come from Florida.
Absolutely.
A lot of grass, a lot of ranching down there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
what was ranching like down there?
A lot of palmetto bushes and spiders, swamps. Yeah, that's pretty much what I remember. Having to go through there with those big banana spiders, they'll get you. And then
I'm surprised you didn't learn the hat. A cowgirl hat would have been handy with them banana
my
spiders.
caps work just fine. I just don't get the cowboy hat thing. And but I'll tell you, I worked in New Mexico for a year.
Well, there you can't have one because the wind blows too hard.
Right. But
You got to be a
if
real
you have
cowboy to keep one on them storms.
If you have to strike out after a cow out there, you got forever to catch that sucker. But if you're trying to rope one in Florida, those trees come up real fast because there's just trees everywhere and palmetto bushes, and you better rope that cow fast. So you learn how to rope kind of fast down there.
Well, that's where Speedy came from.
Right? Exactly.
So that makes sense.
Exactly.
That makes sense. So I had heard, now correct me if I was wrong, they said some of the because in every different places and different cultures and different habitats, there's certain things that, are predators that come after the calves and cows and stuff like that. Now, is Florida one of the strongest ones where you had to worry about gators? As I've heard that they would eat a lot of calves, like when they go to the creeks or like the ponds and stuff like that. I heard a lot of them get swallowed up that way. Is that a myth, or was someone? Is that pretty
it
true?
never really happened out where I've never known that to happen.
Not where you were at.
No, the cow. The gators we had weren't that huge, so as long as they were big enough splashing in there, like the mama cows, they'd scare it off. We didn't have any calves eaten by gators. That wasn't our big. It's more the coyotes, really.
Was it?
Yeah.
What about anacondas? Any of them suckers
I've
get
never
around?
seen an anaconda. Those are a little more south.
That's yeah. I was never really a fan of anything like that.
No, I've never seen an anaconda in real life. Surely that's in the Everglades or something.
Got it.
I don't really know that for sure.
That would be a whole new level of ranching.
Absolutely.
That would end my ranching career for sure.
Yeah. Shoot.
So what intrigued you about the healing? Because I do get it, especially the more all girls you enter, it seems like there's a select few of you, because you're one of the greatest healers, all girl healers that there is, between Whitney Del Salvo and who else? Jimmy Joe. She's been great for a long time. Jimmy Joe Montero won the world this year too, right?
Right. Annette.
And Annette Stahl, and who won it this year? The Moreno girl.
Lorraine. Jimmy Joe won them. I guess she won them.
Jimmy Joe won it.
Jimmy Joe won the world, and then Lorraine
won it last year.
I
won it last year. We won it
because she's from South Texas, and every time I watch that girl heal, it's always 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And like you guys are amongst some of the top girls out there healing, and like I said, for girls, it seemed like to learn how to heal, it's harder. It's a little more arm strength, and it's a lot more timing, and it seems like it. For you to get it figured out, what do you think it was, that one little thing that like clicked that one time? Did it just happen right off the bat, like a little freak of nature, or what happened?
No, I'm not a freak of nature. My bottom strand. Figuring out my bottom strand, being able to set my bottom strand. That's the biggest thing for me. And back in the day, I used to use a really heavy rope, the GT4 full, medium hard. Yeah, like I was.
You got some guns on
Yeah,
you,
well,
cowgirl.
now I can't even hardly swing my arm around my head anymore because of that. But
because Whitney Del Salvo says she's a medium soft.
yeah, that's what I use now.
That's what we use now.
Yeah, I have to use a real flimsy rope, but I could heal with I'd use a head rope to heal.
Yeah.
When I was learning, like I could use every part of that rope. I like a real soft rope now, but it's hard to find one that long that will stay open. So the one I have now, the Future All Around Medium Soft, it's I really like it. I can get power on it, and then I can set it down, and it stays open. That's probably my favorite.
What was it you've seen for the very first time though? Like, because I think timing is probably one of the hardest things. It seemed like you can get to where you can heal that sawhorse or heal the pipes pretty easy. But then when you started chasing steers, what was it that you feel like clicked that first time where you started getting a lot of feet in a row? Like what was it that clicked? There's always everyone always has something different to where you're like, maybe you find out when your swing's over the back and when you're like, you're going to catch before you throw.
I don't. When it clicked for me, I don't.
What was the hardest thing about healing?
The corner. Making a good corner. I'm always one to cut in and staying out and around them.
Yeah.
Is something I work on daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it. The corner.
What do you think the easiest thing was that you picked up? Probably the swing, because you always swing.
Yeah,
rope in the feet. Because you always had a really good swing.
As long as I can get my swing over their back and I can see them, I usually can get something out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, cutting in, not good. The corner's my biggest deal. Riding and keeping my power around the corner and roping. Keep them riding around the corner is the biggest deal.
The thing that I've watched about your guys' run is that every year it gets a little bit smoother. Like to where Bev does such a good job of being able to control where they're going. And it seems like that makes it so much easier to know how to structure and time where your horse is going to be to get parallel around there and set your shot up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Wesley Thorpe came over and helped me a couple months ago, and he just had me. He said my swing was a little movie, so I had to, really get it pointed to the right hawk, and then
What does movie mean?
He said it was all over the place. It wasn't pointed at anything. It was just everywhere.
It was just going around your head.
Yeah, it was just swinging it, and then finally got it pointed somewhere, and it started catching stuff. It's weird.
Swing started
It's weird how that works.
Swing started going toward the feet, and I'll be damned.
It's funny how that works.
Dang,
I thought I could have figured that out myself, but
Yeah, and then let everything happen in front of you and So that's what I've been doing. Just trying to let everything happen out in front of me and then let my horse go to it.
How cool is that guy to get to go spar with him?
Oh, he's neat. He's a great guy. He
I get-
texted us all last week telling us great job, good runs. Yeah, I love
He's
Wesley.
great.
He's
Yeah.
good.
I agree. He's on the podcast, and man, what a wealth of knowledge for a young cat.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That guy learned how to win early, and it
Mhm.
never stopped. And when they called him Baby Jesus, and he explained why they called him Baby Jesus, because he would crack anybody out and win, old people, blind people. I mean, young kids that didn't even know how to swing and just
Right.
crack them out and go win it. I mean, he won with everybody.
Yeah,
And I was like,
so-
no, that makes sense.
That's got to tell you, he's the common denominator.
Oh,
He learned how to win. He
Yeah.
knew, and he was always motivating. Even when I roped with him, everything was upbeat.
Well,
Yeah.
You know, it was always,
calm, just so calm. I
Yeah.
like his calm demeanor.
there was never any pressure that I felt like to rope with him. You know, he was always team play.
Mhm.
You know, because some of that era wasn't that way. It was
Right.
that intimidation era. It seemed like 80s into the 90s to where
Mhm.
they would put so much pressure on you to see if you'd crack. And it
Right.
cracked a lot of people, you know. And then he was the opposite. He was just, we're in this together. Let's do it.
Let's do
I
it.
love
And
that about him.
It takes away a lot of that pressure. It's a great team play.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And golly, just the amount of winning he can do on both ends.
And to
Right.
be so young.
Yeah, and
it's
so
just-
young.
That's just, he's,
And he's got a lot going on in and out of the arena.
Right.
Like he's got that equine exchange where they do a lot of auctions and stuff like that, where they hold with horses and things like that. Well, he comes and helps with my military event. He does all of our silent auctions, and it comes in and
Cool.
does it for free.
wow, that's great.
Like they takes all of our silent auction items and puts them out there online, and they've helped us raise a bunch of money. But just doesn't charge us nothing. Just a good dude.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
That is great.
yeah, he's a cool dude. So once your swing got to where it wasn't so, what was the word? Movie.
Movie. Just
Movie.
everywhere, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do different with your hand? You feel like
I just had to really like point it when I brought it up,
So
have
where
a
it
purpose.
turn
and
we're turned over and pulling on the back.
And bring it up and mean where I bring it up, point it to that right hawk and then come over there. But I look at in the middle there. I learned that
What-
on Patrick Smith's driven tape. I look at that really helped me too.
Middle of what? You look at the middle of what?
The middle of the feet.
Hmm.
He says he has a little his target set in the middle, and that really helped me more than anything.
What do you look at when you're trying to get in time with the steer?
That's
That-
a hard question
it's
for
a
me
feel.
because I don't really. Yeah, it's a feel. I can't. I just don't look to get in time. It just happens.
You can just feel it.
Yes.
Mhm.
I can't look at the right hawk, but I can point my rope there.
Right.
But I can't look at that and that be my target because then it becomes a problem. So I just look in the middle there,
Yeah.
and set my bottom strand, and the steer jumps in.
I like it.
I'm very simple minded.
I
Like
love it.
I
Well,
can't.
that's why I couldn't figure out how you couldn't figure out your swing was movie.
Like
If you just
I
pointed
can't
right there
believe
toward
it.
the steer, I thought you'd had that figured out.
No, it helped me so much though.
He does. He explains it well.
Yeah, he does. He really didn't tell me anything else other than you need to point. You need to have
there's
a
not a
purpose
lot-
for your swing.
There's not a lot to your stuff. It's usually once you get to where you rope good, it's usually just a couple little things after
Right.
that. It's usually not much.
Yeah,
So I heard you're also superstitious.
I am.
So
But-
what superstitions are you?
Okay, well, I've been working on getting over them.
Well, let's just pretend that you're still on them.
Okay, well, there's so many.
Well, how did you learn superstition for one?
Well,
It's usually a learned skill.
yeah, there's just so many though. Like you just start. Well, you can't do that because this will happen. You can't do that. It's a lot. Yeah.
What about the black cat crossing the road? I've heard of that one.
That used to bother me too.
Okay, well, what happens if it did?
You got really bad luck. Like you better.
Did you stop and turn around, or
You better go home. Yeah. The night.
okay? Well, then what about the opposite? What happened if a white cat crosses the road?
Oh, you don't even worry about the one.
Oh, good luck.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not. It's nothing.
Okay, so there's no good luck in superstitions.
No.
Okay,
No,
it's
no.
just all bad things.
Yes. Just don't do the things that create the bad stuff. It was a lot to think about. Like now that
Sounds like it.
now that I've quit worrying about it, my head is a lot more clear.
I bet.
It's really nice.
So what about the hat on the bed?
Oh, The cowboy hat? No, don't do that.
Even
Or
though you don't
caps.
have one.
Or
Yeah,
caps.
I
it's
don't
gonna
put
have we have
caps.
probably
Yeah,
go
no.
with
I
cowgirl
don't
cap.
put-
Yeah.
I don't put caps on there either.
So I do know a little bit of cowboy tradition. They always talk about not putting the hat on the bed. So I never did as a kid just because it was tradition. Cowboy coat.
Right.
Never understood it,
Right.
but I didn't just do respect to being cowboys.
Mhm.
But I figured that motto was before you started rodeoing in a trailer, and literally the bed in your trailer was the safest spot for your hat. So that one did not play for me whatsoever. Didn't care. My hat's going on this bed because it's the best place for it not to get crunched.
Right?
So no hat on the cap, no cap on the bed.
No. I
So what
still
happened
do
if that happened?
I throw that cap away. If that hat got set on the bed, I had to throw it away. I could never wear it again.
What would happen?
Well, nothing happened. Just I never wore it. So
Because if you did wear it again, that's going to be bad things
something
happen.
would happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I still hadn't gotten that far yet. I will know that I got one.
She says she's getting over it. It is so deep. She's just halfway. I mean, she just started crawling out of this hole. She can say she's over it all she wants to.
Well, I'm not over it.
But you can. We're walking through town and there's a post, and I mean, if I was to walk on this side and she was to walk on that side, it would just. I mean, she's gonna flip it back, and she's gonna.
Now, what does that do?
I don't.
Well, things won't go right.
Things
Things
won't go right.
No. What's the superstition?
Oh, don't split the pole.
Yeah, I don't.
I know it's a lot. to Think about.
That's like a stripper's curse. Like what? I mean, like there's poles everywhere for crying out loud.
She wouldn't make a good stripper because there would only be one way to go around that pole. I can promise you.
Clockwise.
Right, clockwise. There is no reverse.
No counter. No counter.
Wouldn't work.
No.
And don't play share while you're on the pole.
Oh yeah, you'll fall off that pole.
Cher.
Share.
Is that another superstition?
Oh yeah,
You can't listen to Cher?
no.
Understandable.
No, she's.
She only had two
love
good
her.
songs.
She's had so many good songs.
I like two. Jesse James.
Yeah,
Jesse
Well,
James.
she
Frank.
loves share, and that's the bottom line. But
So what's the superstition with Cher now?
Well, every
Besides
time.
she went crazy later on in life.
Well, I just loved her, and then every time I'd listen to her, something bad would happen.
she wouldn't win a roping if she listened to him on the way to the roping.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't win the roping.
There's so
that
many
was it.
stories that go along with that. Just
So I have some good friends of mine that brought a bottle of Phantom 5, and there's some military guys that have created this brand, and they're from Missouri, and it is delicious.
it's
really good.
delicious.
And I don't know if there's enough Phantom in this bottle to go over these superstitions that we're talking. This is fascinating to me. I'm not superstitious, so I'm curious
Gosh,
just
I
about
envy
what they
that.
are.
I
Yeah,
envy that. I
yeah,
wish
that's
I
a lot
was-
in your head right there.
Oh my gosh! And I've
Splitting
been
the
letting
pole.
some of them go, so my head has really cleared up. But you're
So what are the rest of them? I've heard socks. Isn't there a certain thing on
No,
socks?
But like, if you open a knife, you always close that knife.
So I never could. I remember that was a thing. I never could remember which one it was. So I always thought it was politer to hand them back something that wasn't a sharp object. So I always closed it.
Oh
So,
gosh, Charlie.
well, you'd think it's polite. You don't want to stab anybody. You don't want nobody to cut
No.
anything.
If you opened it, you have to close it.
That's what I said. Like I give them back a closed knife. Like,
Oh, as long
you-
as you opened it. But if did they hand it to you open?
it's really hard to say.
Oh gosh, you'd have to know that. Like it's something you got to know.
I wonder who started that one.
That must be a cowboy thing.
Because I would think that like hand, especially if there's a lot going on, if your guy handed back a closed knife, would be a safety hazard. I'm not real big on OSHA, but that just seems like something kind of be polite.
I agree with you.
Somebody must have got their finger cut off with an open knife that was handed to them closed. Or
That makes
something.
sense. No,
Right.
that makes sense.
I mean, something had
I
to
could pick up
happen
on that one.
down the road.
I could pick up on
somewhere.
that one. What are some other ones?
Do
White after Labor Day. I thought I heard something about that. That makes zero sense. Still don't know what that
not
means.
sweep over like a threshold.
What's a? I don't
Like,
sweep
you know,
much, so
like
I
the
think I'm
door-
okay.
Like the door, like where the door goes out to the other door. Like there's a door, floor, another floor. Don't sweep over the threshold. Don't sweep out.
No.
Get it in a dustpan and get it out that way.
Yeah, and you don't spill any salt. Like you don't do anything with this salt shaker. She'll slap you backwards if you mess up. Mess up with this salt shaker.
You can't hand someone a salt. Like if I say, "Will you please pass me the salt?" They have to set it down. You can't grab it.
Well, I would have thought that handing it to you was polite.
Right. Yeah, but just
so superstition's not always about being polite.
No.
Stab somebody and then make sure they have to reach for the salt.
And then if
they ask for it.
If you spill the salt, you gotta throw it over your left shoulder. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Saying though, I'm not gonna lie, makes zero sense.
Yeah, absolutely, none of it makes
especially
sense.
if anybody's behind you,
right?
Because that seems pretty rude.
Yeah. Apparently, all my superstitions are rude.
Here, pass the salt.
Well, you get
all right. Thank you for that extra. Thank you for that extra 3 inches.
Seriously, yeah. I know it's a lot in your head. You got to remember.
That sounds like it. I'd just rather keep my swing less movie.
Right.
You don't wash a cap either. Like one of her caps got washed, and it was like, oh my gosh, you have washed all my luck out of this cap.
Mm. Yeah, I never.
The person that washed it was reprimanded.
Man, you learned a lot of them then. Did you read a book on superstition?
No, I think I made.
Because this sounds like a book. This is a long list.
It's starting to sound like I made a lot of this up. But I promise you, I learned it somewhere. I just don't remember where.
I learned it somewhere, and it stuck. That is interesting. Huh. So it is real then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really think bad things are going to happen if that happens, huh?
Yeah, but I've been working on that.
Okay.
I've been trying. I've been doing my Bible app, and I'm doing a lot better. And I don't think superstition is really real at all.
I'm going to test you. I wish I had some salt.
Oh God. I'm trying real hard. Okay. Like the other day we split a pole and I had to swallow it.
And I split it just to see if she was really working on it too.
Because that's would be hard for me because I'm an agitator, and so like if I knew these things, golly, I'd just be setting you up.
Oh yeah, I was testing her that day. That's why I brought up the post because I was testing her to see if that was going to be a problem.
Good, though.
She did. She didn't say a word.
I split it and went on my way. Everything was fine, too.
That is funny how that works.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What I've found out is there's a lot of bad things that happen a lot of times that I remembered in my especially early in my career, because I was a dumbass.
Yeah.
That was a thing. Yeah. I don't know if you guys watched that meme on social media with on that 70s show with Red Foreman, the dad, and Eric, his son, and he's like, I don't know why, Dad. I feel like I got bad. I don't know. I feel like I got bad luck. The dad goes, Son, you don't have bad luck. The reason why bad things keep happening to you is because you're a dumbass. Seems like a lot less superstition when it comes down to like, oh, that was totally avoidable.
Now this is the truth.
Yeah.
I wonder what hat you was wearing then, or if you set it on the bed that night you left here playing cornhole.
Oh, God, you got to bring that up.
Well, we don't have to explain all the things you hit, but I mean, we can. But like, what I'm saying is like, there must have been something that happened right there. You crossed a pole.
There must have been something. I probably listened to Cher on the way over.
That's why we're out on Cher.
Exactly. Cher had to be in there somewhere.
If she could only turn back time.
Yeah, that's true.
If she could.
We could have missed a lot of entrances and fences.
God, we could have. And trucks.
Jackie cussed me. She's like, how could you let her drive in that? Well, so for one, it's 1 mile. It was 1 mile.
And she said she wasn't driving. She was driving
I told y'all I was in the Ranger. That's what Shy said to me.
Yeah, and then the last thing I thought was you were in danger because you sunk the last 4 cornhole shots. And I'm like, I think she's fine.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. Walked out the next morning, there was fence wrapped around that truck all the way down the driveway. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened?
We go to church, and the overhead off of our pipe that's like, I don't know, it's a big ass pipe. It's on the ground.
The hubcap was still there.
Hubcap was still there. We're just driving around the neighborhood trying to figure out who drove a Ford truck.
Hubcap and all the blinkers and the
windshield
reflectors
wipers.
and the windshield wipers all hanging on your gate.
And then I didn't think of it when we took a left to go to church. When that straightaway right there at the crossroads, there were some tracks in the mud that turned right, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Didn't think nothing of it. None of this coming up to anything because of, like, the fact the overhead was off and there's tire tracks out there in the mud for no reason. And then we come back. Well, I thought it was one of our other buddies, and I actually looked the nose of his trailer on his bumper pull, and it actually looked like it was bent, but it was one of them old school bumper pull trailers that on the neck of it or the nose of it, like it goes down and then it comes back up, then hooks up to your trailer. I thought that's where the pole hit. Turns out I look at it because I was going to blame him. I'm like, did you have a hard time not hitting the gate on the way out? And he's like, oh, no. And I look back. I'm like, no, that trailer was made. That wasn't him. So I told him, I said, look, apologize. We're going to have to do some damage control. I thought you did it. My bad.
And then I get a call. How's our little buddy doing today?
Well, you didn't say much there, but what we did was we went and we got a Ford truck because I thought you were in a Ranger. So the last thing I thought was you. It wasn't a Ford Ranger, yeah. But I thought you were in the Ranger. I didn't think a Ford truck. And literally, we just started following tracks. Then it didn't take long to find out where it came from.
When you pulled up, I was scrubbing that sucker.
What was fascinating was the amount of mud you got inside the vehicle also.
No, I got stuck, and it was terrible.
Had to open the door, and then he was like, you know what? There's one thing about this truck that's nice is the inside. Piss on that.
And she's still driving it, and she's going to be driving it until the wheels come off, too.
Which won't take long the way she drives.
We call her Betty, and she has never been the same. I promise
she
you.
really hadn't. But she's a good one. She got me home.
No more share.
No more sharing, Betty. And that truck was brand new at that time.
I thought that, yeah.
And it had a regular bed on the back of it. That was awful. That was not one of my better moments.
Yeah,
the overhead got that one.
Yeah, hit the roof and then just bounced down the tailgate.
I must have been going so fast. I don't remember a thing, but the looks of the tracks I left. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I made it home.
Land on the head of the truck because that could have hurt too.
Oh gosh, that was something.
I tell you what, you girls have a lot of fun. A lot of fun. The one thing I enjoy about going up there and roping with you girls is the constant laughing.
Yeah.
So like when I first grew up, I didn't know you were allowed to. I know this sounds silly, but I swear to God, I did not know you were allowed to rope and laugh in the practice pen. You know, my dad was a Marine. I was like, you know, that's your toothbrush there, toothpaste. You know, I mean, put your head out of your ass. Quit laughing, grab ass. You know, everything was so serious.
Right.
And football, same thing. Like, shut up, everyone, be quiet. You know, think about the game, focus. And so everything was so quiet. And then I go to Trevor Brazil's for the first time. And I think one of his sponsors had a football helmet on, and he was running routes on his horse. And they were playing football up there in the middle of the arena, horseback, laughing. Guy took one to the head, almost fell off. And it was like, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, are you allowed to laugh in the practice pit? Like, this is forbidden. He still got the same amount of stuff done, but he enjoyed it. Right. And Jackie's that way. And like every time we'd go up there with you guys, it was just so much fun. And what I found out later is like, I didn't realize you could actually enjoy this.
Right.
And there is something to it. Like you guys do. You guys laugh at everything.
Yeah, you have to.
You got to.
You guys have a lot of fun. I enjoy that.
Yeah, you got to laugh. You got to laugh about it.
So where to next? Where are y'all headed next?
Well, we're going back to Alabama Sunday.
What about the wind? What about what's?
Yeah, we're going to go to Windy Run tomorrow.
And
then we're going to go back to Alabama for a little while and do some family stuff and decide on Reno and kind of just figure out our summer stuff. And
so
we have a lot of young horses right now. So
what's out there in Reno right now?
Well, the World Series has taken over the all the ropings that
what the BFI used to be.
Yeah, what
so
the BFI
World Series
used to be.
Oh, okay.
What Bob Feist, used to have, and Perry De La Reno, whatever his name had. So that's World Series now. And then Darren Peterson's got some down the road that he had the ones after. I guess he fought it from BFI. Anyway, he's got some down the road there in Fallon. So
And I heard that's a really nice facility.
Yeah, it's a nice place. So we're still up in the air about that trip and kind of what we want to do. Guess it'll kind of see how things pull together with my horse, and like I said, just trying to get some new horses. I've had to retire a bunch. Yeah, I had to retire a bunch of horses and got a bunch of young ones coming along, and just kind of in a transition period with my horses.
So what is some of the bigger jackpots that y'all go to throughout the season?
Well,
what is some of those main ones?
The Riata, we'll go to the Riata.
Yeah, any of the big ones, we're gonna hit them. The bigger World Series, the Riatas, the BFIs, the Windy Rhines, the most all of anything that the WRWC puts on. We try to make. We try to support any of the all-girl things, as many as we can.
I wonder if Kojo's going to have an all-girl. Did you guys see where he's going to have a roping? He's going to take the place of
I saw that.
What George Strait.
Yeah,
I seen 12 Businessman. I thought I'd heard an all-girl, but I wasn't for sure.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know if you guys had heard that or not. I wasn't sure.
I'm not sure.
I texted him yesterday trying to see if we can get him on a podcast. Love to see what all events he's going to have out there and stuff like that.
That's fun. That's fun.
He's so good that someone's picking that back up, and he is one of us. He is.
Absolutely.
He's a country dude and a roper and a cowboy.
Kind of takes the George Strait place.
Absolutely.
Kind of feel like.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the Riata, that's been a big hit for a lot of people. I don't understand it quite yet, and I've been wanting to have someone on here because I know you guys have been trying to get ready for it and trying to, you guys are all in on it. So what all is it?
Well, I just jumped on board right off the bat. I talked to Denny when he called me when he was first talking about jumping on board with that, and it just kind of hit home with me because it does give you another outlet, to keep from staying home and going to some big ones. And they have the whole nomination concept to go along with it. I've probably got, I don't know, 10, 9, 8. Yeah, 8 Riata horses now, and
really,
I'm just right now. I'm just not buying anything that's not Riata. Why would you if that horse can be the same as something else? If you can get that kind of return, and they're hard to find. I mean, they're and I love what it's doing. I mean, it's helping the breeders,
the horse industry for sure,
helping the horse industry, helping the breeders, helping the stud owners, and I feel like it's going to start helping. I think they're going to start leaning toward the mares. I think we're going to start being more like the cutters and start putting more emphasis on what these mares are doing for these horses, and I like that. It's going to help the breeding, part of this thing. So. I mean, I feel like we're just scratching the surface with this deal, and the money they're putting in it is, you just can't say no to it. And
is that one of your bigger ropings you go to?
Yeah,
because that was the first one you guys brought up when you talked about the ropings you're going to.
Yeah, and I feel like if you have a Riata horse right now, I'm going to say that it's going to add $5,000 to $10,000 to the value of the horse just right now, and I'm throwing that number out of the top of my head with nothing to back it up, But I just talking and I look at a whole lot of horses, and I feel like it's really adding value, and it's just like Pateras, just making people make good horses, and we want that.
So what are the age brackets for the Riata, and how does it all work? Like I said, I've heard of some proxy horses, and
right. You
heard
can
a lot
have
of
some
different
3 and
terminology
under.
that I didn't understand.
If you don't have a horse that's ready, you can have a 3 and under horse that's Riata that you can proxy. You can ride anything as long as you have a horse that's 3 and under. Even though as long as your partner is riding the Riata horse.
Okay.
And then the ages are I think in the open futurity, I believe, is 4 and under, and then there's 5 and under in the 12-point ropings and down, and then maybe in the lower numbers it goes to 6 and under. But that's just the incentive now. You can ride any aged horse in the open part of it.
Oh, okay.
But they have an incentive plus the so if you're riding an incentive horse, you can win 2 pots. If you're riding an incentive horse in both pots, you can win the incentive and the open. So it's just kind of an incentive to ride a younger horse if you've got one that you feel comfortable going to win on. or you can enter that horse in the incentive. You can enter another horse in the open part of it. You can enter 2 times. You can enter 3 times if you enter an incentive horse, 2 in the open and 1 in the incentive. So, and I don't know what the payoff's going to be this year, but I think it's going to be really close to something like the finals in Vegas, the World Series. I think that's anything Denny Gentry's involved in. It's going to be, I think he's going to do it right. He's going to, he's on a mission, and I think it's going to be done right.
He seems like he does an innovator. He does try to find
absolutely
different niches in the market and expand it for sure. Yeah, I do like what it's doing for the horse industry for sure.
Me too.
The only thing I get a little concerned about with is because I get a lot of clinics where guys are trying to ride 3-year-olds that should be riding 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and stuff, and and then like that. Then once they get started the wrong way, then okay, now what's that horse's future? So, but there's always holes in everything.
I think it's like the racehorse business. You're rushing those horses. You're rushing those horses to whether it be, their joints or whatever. I think you're having to push that horse faster than, and some horses I feel like can be pushed faster than some, but you're having to push those horses faster than maybe if you want to get them ready for a 3-year-old futurity or a 4 or 5, whatever it is. I think it is going to push some people to make them faster than maybe some of them are ready to be pushed. So, I mean, that's, like I said, that's racehorse and that's cutting, and that's probably in every discipline, I would think. But
I'm interested to see, in my opinion, where the breeding starts taking place on the heel side, where people start feeling like this is a good cross. And I'm really, really, really excited to see where the breeding starts getting to where, like, this horse creates a good head horse. Like, he's got the brains, he's got the feel, he's got the speed, the foot speed, but he can't run so hard he can't comprehend it, but he can run hard enough where, because you're that cow horde, like that mad science you're trying to figure out. Because it seems like in the barrels they figured it out. They've gone through different strides between Firewater, Flint and the Frenchman's guy, and mixing with all those things. There's a time where, like, you could see there a lot of those barrel horses were successful. Like, they found some breeding. I'm curious to see when Team Roping starts finding that niche.
And I think when they start giving the mares more credit, I think that's when they're going to find that niche. I just really feel like the beauty of a lot of those horses comes from the mares, and I think we're giving all the credit to the studs right now. But I'm hoping a lot.
Being a stud, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. I know you do, Charlie Crawford.
Everyone knows that from here to Timbuktu, if any of my kids are successful, it's all going to the mare on this one.
Yeah, I believe the mayor's got a lot of pull.
Mayor's got a lot more credentials than this stud does.
No, whatever.
That is not true, but true.
And another thing too is I'm curious, like, because you're trying to breed the run with the cow horse and the intelligence and stuff, and so also that is like, all right, do you want the intelligence to be on the stud, and then you want the the athletic to be on the mare, and like which side, which strength is there, and so it's going to be real interesting, I think, to see where that goes.
It really is.
And I think too, another thing is, I know one thing is, I wish that I would have had a chance to do fraternities before I retired. I wish there was a chance that, I could have learned more about the horse before the end of my career. Because now that I've retired and had to do some of these fraternities, and I'm trying to get my horse to score and how they're judging, trying to get to where they're running in a spot where they learn when and how to get that left leg under them and get the feel of where their feet are at, how to restructure the corner, how to keep them, framed across the pin and face, because all that is with your feet and your hands in that field to be able to time that and make them look good. And it's the same stuff you need at the top level.
Absolutely.
So what it's going to do, I think, a lot of times too, is like for a lot of more beginner or lower numbered ropers, things like that, through this is going to create a lot more people understanding more about horsemanship.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, looking from the outside looking in. But.
Right. Totally agree with that.
Yeah. We wish we could. I mean, we're like you. I'm at the age where, I feel like we can't teach an old dog new tricks. I would love to go the futurity route a little bit with where I'm at, but there's an art to that. There's a lot to learn. That's a whole different deal.
Those guys that are good, they're truly artists.
Right. They really are.
I got to go to Ardmore a couple weeks ago, and I got to go, and my horse ain't very good. I think he's good. getting to ride them 2 or 3 days a week. And what I found out through this whole thing is I know a little bit about a 6-year-old, know a little bit less about a 5-year-old, and even dang near nothing about a 4-year-old. In the fact of like, because they're such babies and like where they evolve and what you got to let go, what you got to kind of help them with and stuff. And especially coming from riding older horses to where like they know better.
Right.
Now you're trying to coach them along and stuff like that. But like the other day at Ardmore, I got to sit there with Trevor and Miles Baker with Joseph Harrison, and we're watching videos talking about where they're trying to get their horse to get that left leg under him, at what angle, how they're trying to frame that horse across the pin. And then both of them are talking about two different faces. Joseph likes to mix the hips with the front end, and then Trevor likes to get the hind end around right there and use more of that. So one's talking where to put his left hand, and the other one's where to put their foot, and just watching it go back and forth. And I'm like, cool is this?
It's good.
So
You know what I mean? Like that's how iron sharpens iron, and just the like I said, they're artists, like, because they're, they're riding however many horses a day, different ones all the time, selling them, moving them, riding different ones. And just the amount of knowledge and stuff like that and feel that they have. Joseph's a wizard.
I want to go ride with him.
Yeah. He's one of the guys that knows the feet. And I tell you what he's doing really good is he's getting good at the freaking head.
He sure is.
That Air Force One is rank.
He is rank. And I love how he faces. I don't know, I do know it's different than a look than the other, but I am liking that face.
This is just my opinion. My opinion is to where, in my opinion, when the feet are back on the heel side is when that horse should be tight looking. To me, I don't care what you have to do to make that happen. That's where you can leave it from opinion from there.
Right.
But my opinion is when the feet are back, that rope should be tight and they should be looking. Because when the feet are back, that flag should be going.
Right.
They shouldn't be so much to the end to where if they're hung at all, to me, that should be a dog.
Right.
That should be a dog of points because that's time.
Right.
Everything that you're trying to create here, I think, on these futurities is where everything right there is a little bit less time, but then it looks good.
Right.
And correct.
And I feel like don't you feel like it's leaning more toward the faster than the
it's evolving
show,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's
show,
evolving.
that slow.
That was my beef with the way the traditional thing is that, getting their butt so much and they're, getting that left neck bent and, seeing the left eyeball and then going and then running the end of it and facing on the front end. It was hard on cattle. It was hard on horses. And what was frustrating me about it was the fact that you have the top ropers and the top trainers, the top horses, but the style, them horses couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
Now all them horses that are good, they're going somewhere. They're either going to the numbered ropings or they're going to the NFR.
Right.
Like that's what I like about it. It's evolving.
It's evolving. Absolutely. I do too.
Well, thanks for the conversation, ladies. That was fun. I learned a lot about superstitions today.
It was fun. I'm glad I could help you out.
Yeah. I'm not going to say I'm any superstitions, but I'm going to notice poles more. That's weird.
Well, no.
Just don't be dancing. Just don't start dancing.
I really am trying to let it go.
That has been something I've struggled with for a long time.
I know it is.
Came here to work. Well, good. So how many Riata horses do you guys have?
Probably 8, 9, 10.
Probably about 10.
Yeah.
How many head horses and how many heel horses?
There's about
shorter on the heel horses than on the head horses. So.
Yeah. I got 2 heel horses, Riata, and then the rest. So
it's about 80-20.
Yeah.
What is there a breeding you guys been sticking to? You guys been kind of scattering around to see what you like, or what have you been leaning
I
towards?
like these Betty's of Cats.
Yeah.
Or metallic Masterpiece is what my horse is, but he's not Riata. That doesn't really matter. But I like metallic cats.
On the heel side?
Yes, I really like metallic.
What have you found on the head
Jess
side?
Perry's that I crossed with the Jess Perry, a little bit of running.
And Jess Perry's got some run.
Right. And liking that. Had 2 of those that we really like. Whiskey and Diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably our number 1.
Top Sale Whiz.
Top Sale Whiz and a Whiskey and Diamonds. Palomino horse, probably our number 1, probably the best horse we've ever ridden. Hopefully it's going to hang in there.
Got a heel horse that way too, but he's not Riata. But he's a Top Sale Whiz. Is he Whiskey and Diamonds too? No.
So, just a variety.
Mm-hmm. It's fun to start playing with it and find what you like, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What does that event pay? Because there's got to be some attraction. I never did actually hear what it paid. What does your Riata pay?
Showing 50,000, 50. I don't know. Just it pays so many places, and then it pays the incentive. Gosh, I can't. I don't know. I know it paid deep.
So it paid $250,000 to win it. that a team?
It might have been more than that. It might have been
Wow.
more. 300,000, 150 a man.
So that's probably the biggest roper in the world then.
I don't know what the 12-point paid at Las Vegas, but I'm going to say it's probably really close. Really close.
That's going to perk some ears and get some guys looking for sure.
Oh yeah.
It is.
It's a good rope.
It pays 10% to the breeder, and it pays 10% to the. I mean, it just it pays some percentages to other people, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
it makes them take notice on who's winning. That's kind of cool.
I do like that. Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch for sure. I really do think it can go in a good direction. Like say more, and that's the hard part about when I've been doing clinics is guys talking about finding horses and stuff, and it does seem like the ropers have saturated the market where there's not enough guys making them, making those good horses.
Yeah.
And to me, this is going to fill a lot of that void with the futurities and all that stuff, where more people are going to start learning more about how to make them to produce enough horses to make for the public. And I think also too for the public, it's going to enhance the more knowledge on how to ride them and maintain them, because that's some of the biggest problems is, my guy might buy $100,000 horse, but if your left-handed feet don't work in the right spot, it doesn't take long for that $100,000 horse to work just like the one they sold because they couldn't ride it no more.
Right. And
So
I think this will help the
that'll
futurity market too, as far as it'll
Mhm.
get more people going to the futurities because they have that horse.
Well, and they're starting also to get those incentives to get some of the owners. There's a jackpot for some of them guys too at the futurities as well.
Right.
I agree.
I think it's definitely going to help both sides.
Yeah, I agree. That'll be interesting to watch for sure. Well, ladies, do good this weekend.
Thank you.
Have a great summer. Thanks for coming in. Good luck this year.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right.
We love you.
I love you guys too.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Enjoy having you guys over. All right,